Well, the Asian markets, they're trading more or less lower early this morning following a series of conflicting reports on the U.S. China trade that surfaced overnight. So you have the Nikkei that's under some pressure. That's down 0.3%. Remember, you have the yen as well that had moved to around 111.3. That's weakened a tad bit to around 111.6. But still, that market is under some pressure, down close to 0.3%. But let's pull up the other few markets as well. That should come up for you on the screen. The Kospi, the Straits, as well as the Taiwanese index should come up for you. And the Kospi, as we speak, that's trading with a cut of close to 1%. The Straits as well down 0.7%. While the Taiwanese index, that's the lone index early this morning, that's indicating some green, 0.2% higher. The SGX Nifty is indicating a flattish to a mildly negative start.
Okay, so the uncertainty regarding the U.S.-China trade talk weighing on the Asian markets, and that was weighing on Wall Street as well, because the stocks closed mostly lower, with the Dow Jones snapping a 4-day winning streak, lines in Apple shares. Now, the Nasdaq managed to eke out a 10-point gain at close. Investors also digested the latest reports on the U.S.-China trade negotiations and monitored the 2-day FOMC meeting, which is underway currently. CNBC's Eric Shemi gets us a wrap of all that transpired on Wall Street.
U.S. stocks ending the day mixed, with the Dow down 26 points, snapping a 4-day winning streak. The S&P flat and the Nasdaq up 9. The Federal Reserve kicking off its 2-day policy meeting today. The central bank is expected to leave rates unchanged when those meetings end tomorrow, as part of its strategy to remain patient. Investors will also be looking for clues about the Fed's outlook for the rest of 2019. Meanwhile, Peloton's feeling the burn. A group of several music publishers are taking the fitness program to court for copyright infringement and seeking $150 million in damages. The lawsuit alleges that Peloton did not properly license more than 1,000 songs which have appeared in its video workouts. Some of the songs include hits by Drake, Lady Gaga, and Justin Timberlake. And shares of chipmaker AMD jumping nearly 12% on news that Google will partner with the chipmaker to power graphics for its cloud-based gaming platform Stadia. Google unveiled the platform on Tuesday. That's the action from the U.S. market. Back to you in Mumbai.
Well, U.S.-China trade talks are once again taking center stage as reports suggest that U.S. Representative Robert Lighthizer and Secretary of Treasury, that's Steven Mnuchin, are scheduled to fly to Beijing next week to try and move the needle on trade talks. CNBC's Eunice Yoon gets us all those details.
The Chinese have always felt that they should be in charge of their own sovereignty, just as many countries feel the same way. So that has been one of the overriding issues that has been plaguing the negotiations between the two sides. And it looks as though now that the major players who have been in touch over video conference feel that now is the time for some real-life FaceTime. So according to a senior Trump administration official, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and the Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin are going to be coming here to Beijing next week. They will be meeting with the Chinese Vice Premier Liu He. And then the Wall Street Journal has been reporting that the following week, the Chinese Vice Premier will be heading to Washington in order to continue those conversations. And of course, the main aim of this all is not only get a trade deal, but also have a trade deal that's well enough put together in order for President Trump and President Xi to meet sometime possibly in late April. So as one of the main issues, though, has been this idea of enforcement. So the Americans want to make sure that the Chinese agree to make these changes and that they actually make the changes. And one of the one of the U.S. suggestions has been that the Chinese wouldn't retaliate if the U.S. decides to reimpose tariffs. So if the Chinese breach the deal, the U.S. wants to be able to reimpose the tariffs without any penalty. Now, from the other issue that has come up is the timing of the end of the tariffs. So the Chinese reportedly want everything to be lifted all at once, whereas the Americans want them to be spaced out in phases and almost act as though they're incentives, so that you end a phase of tariffs, and then the Chinese as almost like a reward system for the Chinese, and then after that you continue to phase them out. So those are some of the main issues that the two face.
All right, we'll keep an eye out on all those issues then in terms of trade talks between the United States as well as China. Well, turning our attention though to the European markets, let's see how they closed up yesterday. They closed up mostly higher. Investors out there, they're monitoring the heightened Brexit uncertainty And also they're awaiting the Federal Reserve's latest monetary policy meeting. On the back of that, we had all the three frontliners that ended in the green.
Okay, now let's shift focus to the world of currency. The dollar holds steady against a basket of major currencies. Federal Reserve's policy decided later today. Markets expect the Fed to strike a dovish tone and hold the rate steady, though all eyes will be on any comment coming in on the balance sheet contraction from the U.S. Fed.
And in the world of commodities and crude oil prices, they are slightly off the 2019 high levels as the OPEC cancels the April meeting, effectively extending output cuts until June. U.S. sanctions against Iran and Venezuela have also been boosting prices.